Weeks, Highbury College in Portsmouth has carried out over 2,000 COVID-19 tests on its staff and students after the government asked schools and colleges in December to set up testing sites ready for the return in January to help break the chain of transmission. As we know, Lockdown 3 was then announced and pupils didn't return. Interim Principal and CEO of Highbury College in Portsmouth, Penny Wycherley, joins me now on the line. Hi, Penny.
Hi, Sam.
Lovely to have you there. Just tell me a little bit about Highbury College, because you're a further education college, aren't you? And it's a lot of your courses are vocational ones.
That's right. We specialise in vocational education, both apprenticeships and on-site courses for anyone from 16 upwards. So it can be bricklaying or computing or engineering or public services, you name it.
So absolutely crucial that your students were able to continue learning on campus. I mean, you can't learn bricklaying on a Zoom call.
No, or hairdressing. I'd hate to let a hairdresser who just learned online loose on me. Yes, so it's called a licence to practice. And what we'd done in the autumn term was prioritised as much practical learning as we could do, so that they could do the online learning if we ever got into lockdown again, which of course we did. Not all students come in because we've been very keen to keep the social distancing going. Mm-hmm. So we tend to have them in much smaller groups, and when they need to do an assessment, so they're fresh for the assessment, because they do assessments through the courses as well as at the end.
Okay, so you managed to set up testing sites. Explain how those have worked.
Right, we have three major campuses, so there's testing on each of the campuses, because to bring people in would of course encourage the transmission of infection, so we tried to keep them in the same location. So they've had the testing centres where they would usually study. It's not vast numbers, but these are the most disadvantaged students, or students for whom the education and training is particularly important at the moment. For example, pharmacy technicians or health and safety staff, as well as the usual range of courses. And they've been doing them at each of those centres. We started at Cosham, which is the biggest campus, and we started training the staff on the 4th of January. We were working with a partner from outside who'd been involved in running training testing centres for the government and the NHS. And then we called a halt on the 5th when we regrouped for another lockdown and started again on the 6th. Beta testing, so staff got the opportunity to try and work things through slowly, and then moved the following week to our more vulnerable students who were coming in. We still have to clean the building if we have any students in, the teachers who do face-to-face, the support workers, the staff team's amazing the way they've kept going.
And what kind of infection rate have you seen?
Not incredibly high, but I think it's broken quite a lot of chains of transmission, people who were asymptomatic, who wouldn't have been picked up. So that's been really good. We did pick up an infection, or transmission, that resulted in us closing the nursery, and that was, we think, one child who'd come in and had infected a particular group of staff dealing with that age group, and in fact it caused us significant issues, and we had to close the nursery for a couple of weeks, which was a shame, because they need that education and training in the way our older students do.
Absolutely. So this has clearly really helped those young people with their learning, and I know that's something that the government has talked about. Have you seen it operating successfully in other FE colleges?
I know it does operate in other FE colleges. We don't visit each other at the moment because we're trying to keep the transmission down. But I know, for example, Portsmouth College has also been testing. They've not had as many students and staff coming in as we have. They're not quite as big, and their students don't require the same level of face-to-face tuition. We have a lot of vulnerable students, and we particularly focused around those and the technologically disadvantaged, those who can't study at home. We've given out hundreds of laptops, initially from our own funding, but subsequently with government support. And, it's not easy for people in overcrowded homes with other people using the internet link. So we've kept 3 access centres going for our disadvantaged students.
Marvellous. Now, we've been hearing today from the government that rapid testing and vaccines should allow many industries to reopen, thinking about theatres, nightclubs and those sorts of venues. Do you think this kind of testing could enable that?
I think it could help to support it. We've maintained social distancing alongside it because we were just anxious to play it very, very safe. So in all communal areas, our students and staff wear masks unless they're actually exempt. Or in the classroom sometimes, if we can't maintain the social distancing, or where we've got someone who's particularly concerned. So yes, but I would do it very warily.
Well, Penny, it's interesting to hear about your experience. You're clearly, absolutely boxing that virus into a corner, and we wish you and all of your staff and students well with the rest of 2021. I know it's an incredibly difficult and stressful time, especially for those students.
Yes, and for the staff who are working with them. And really, I would only stress, just keep your distance. Okay.
Penny says, keep your distance. Thank you very much, Penny Wycherley, Interim Principal and CEO of Highbury College.